everyone, welcome back. This is Show, and we're going to pick up from part 3 for our Caligula 2 playthrough. Now, unfortunately, this is coming out a little bit late. When I actually recorded this originally, the sound quality was really, really poor, and it turned out that you could barely hear anything over the music, sadly. So, hopefully I've adjusted the audio levels here, so this new recording should be good. So I actually went back and redid up until this point here. Admittedly though, I did grind a little bit more just to get ready, so I'm actually able to showcase a few quick things before we jump into the next part here. As I mentioned in parts 1 and 2, a key component of the game is to collect stigmas. And once you get a certain amount of skill points, these stigmas can become mastered, as you can kind of see listed on the screen here. When they become mastered, they switch over to a passive skill slot, and you can actually equip them in these open slots here. So one of the key things early on is gaining as many of these stigmas as you can, and then, after mastering them, equip them to get their bonus effects. So as you can see here, this one here increases our evasion by 12. If we remove it, bam, free bonus increase. Now if I were to take the already established one that gives us that skill, so I think, yeah, it's this one right here. If I were to equip that, as you can see, it actually causes no difference to my stat changes. So you can't stack the stigma and the passive skill together, it's one or the other. But early on in the game, by getting as many stigmas as you can and leveling them as much as you can, you'll be able to get some extra power, which will really help you out. So now we're going to proceed on with this section here. And this is sort of a sub-boss that we're going to have to deal with right now. And more importantly, Gin got shot. But most importantly, Sasada is now a member of our party, which is great because I love Sasada. So I guess something we can discuss now is, which I think I briefly touched on in section 1 in part 1 and 2, is that each character sort of has their own class of so to speak. So as you can see here, the main character is a sort of thief ninja. So he has his dual kunai and is able to do some pretty good damage. Gin is our archer, and Sasara is actually a tank. So one of her main abilities is this one right here. As you can see, her symbol is a standard attack, and then this one is a up. When you see up, this is actually used to give stat boosts. So if we watch her use her attack here, she is going to attack the enemy twice, and then activate an aura, which you can see at the bottom there, which gives her increased defenses and allows her to taunt any enemy in the location. So it directs all attacks on her. Really, really useful skill when dealing with large groups of enemies, or if you have to mitigate damage from powerful attacks. Alright, so thank you so much, Sasada. We love you. You are great. Let's continue. Right. Now, if you all remember from before, our main goal here is just to gather the key items so we can get through the gates and make our way to Makina, which hopefully should be easier this time around. As I mentioned before, I did a little bit of grinding as I was getting back here just to earn some of those skills. On my original recording, I managed to beat Makina at level 5, which I kind of felt was a bit impressive, but it did take a lot of item usage and a lot of time. Honestly, I think the original recording, it was probably about 10 minutes of me running to the location, and then I would say 10 minutes of me, or like 20-30 minutes of me just doing everything I possibly could. So right now we're just going to get some extra stigmas on there, increase the attack, increase accuracy, and looks like our main character is almost going to learn a new skill. So let's hop into this battle here and show off some of the skills. So Sasada, as I mentioned before, she has access to a few cool things. She has access to the area of effect taunt. She has access to basic attacks. She eventually unlocks the ability to counter thrusts, which is ridiculously helpful. And she also has a heal spell, so she's kind of our earliest healer. though honestly speaking, using your items is probably a better approach. So I would highly suggest doing that. Pick items whenever you possibly can. Okay, this guy should let us level up. And we should be able to knock him out pretty quickly too, I think. So for some straight attacks. Now, I'm not going to get into some of the other characters that we'll unlock later on, but you do get a pretty nice eclectic mix of characters. One is sort of a samurai, another is like kind of a, I guess best described as a Edo-style police officer. The weapon of choice is kind of a pole arm that's used to stop people from moving. Though basically each character has their own sort of use or function. For example, the samurai character that you'll eventually unlock, her main focus is to wrist break real quick. So she's able to just speed through and break people left and right. Whereas the enforcer is more of like a passive buff debuffer sort of guy. Also, if you see at the top here, under our notifications, both the main character and Geen have learned their passive skills, so we can take care of that right now. So as you see, this has become master, which is great. We don't have any spare ones right now, but we can equip maybe this attack booster. And we don't want to lose that life we just gained, so there we go. Bam! 5% increase to my HP, which is good. Then here, we can kind of queue him up for the next one, which probably would be this one. And we can go in and set his passive skill here to give him 20 more attack, which is great. And let's get Sasara equipped with both of her skills here. That way she can at least gain some experience. Alright, we're almost to Makina. I do admit this music is a banger. Alright. Good. Now we're going to dodge these little ones here. Jump down here. Down this way is actually a level 24. Yeah, level 24 Digihead. Definitely meant to come back later. You'll find that most of the... We'll actually explore this more in the second, or in the fourth part I should say. Most zones can be returned to, and you definitely want to return to them as characters can be found that add to the causality link, and items that you missed can also be recovered. So you may need to return back to these old areas to either do more battles, gather items, find certain people. So they kind of sprinkle those little extra harder battles in off and on to give you a little more incentive to come on back and to explore further. Which I'll talk a little bit more in the part 4 when we get into the kind of open world school life aspect of the game. Yes! Ooh, run, 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 run! Oi! Cool. Alright, and this is the last treasure chest we can get, and it is something very valuable actually. It is a new weapon for the main character. So far we've seen that stigmas can have skills, but weapons can also be equipped with skills, as we see here. So this one here gives us a bit of a bonus, but most importantly, the skill gives us critical plus 8. So super helpful for that. We can actually, once we master this skill, we can actually have it equipped in our passives and give us kind of an overall critical bonus. So again, you definitely striving pretty hard to get as many as you can. Alright, so we got a full voltage, which is good. I think we have both the main character and Geen with their overdrives, so we do some good damage there. And yeah, let's hop into the battle. Alright, we're gonna just skip over this first part here. Again, as I've been saying numerous times, play the game. It's really, really good if you want to know the real story. Okay, so here we are. This is the boss battle of the area with Makina. This is a really tricky battle for various reasons. As you can see there, his main gimmick, sadly, is to summon ads, which I loathe. Especially considering that the ads that he summons are actually debuffers. So if you do not properly mitigate the debuff, you can actually take some pretty hefty damage, which is unfortunate. Now, as we saw in our forecasting session there, we need to kind of mitigate to let him summon that guy. Once it's summoned, then we can start doing some attacks. Okay. So first thing we're going to do is we're going to prevent us from getting hit by that skill. Okay, guards up here. And we can guard here. Good. Though, unfortunately, Cesaro is probably going to take that hit. Alright, that can't be helped. Now, Makina is going to go for shooting, so I'm going to see if I can try to get in there and... Wrong scale. Whoops. Okay, that's going to fail pretty hard. What if I can hit him here, though? Ooh, it's going to be really bad. Okay. So, best bet for us is just to defend. And try to get both of those lasers in there. Let's get... There we go. 1, 2. Good. We don't need any healing now, but we'll try to get just a little bit more damage on Makinas. Our main goal is going to be to do as much damage as we can to Makinas, getting his risk gauge up, and then just hitting him with as many attacks as we possibly can. Meanwhile, our main character is going to be focusing on trying to take down this hit. Okay, that's not too bad. I got the thrust there, which is fine. But Cesaro took a pretty bad hit there, so let's get her cured up. As you can see, using items also has a pretty huge cooldown on that timeline, so using items is extremely important, but you need to be really careful because you may accidentally put yourself in a really bad position, as we kind of are seeing here. Now, I think we can get away with shooting here, maybe. Okay, he's gonna cancel that. Okay, we're gonna try something. So I'm gonna try to nail this off, then reset everyone's turn, and get in there with that one. Try to get that Hiko down. Now, if I try to defend here, I'm likely going to... Oh, she blocks it. Sweet, we're gonna do that. Okay, so we got shooting up here. Oh, doesn't matter. He's done. Good. So try to get as much as we can, but unfortunately, we've used up all of our soul points. So this is something that we haven't saw before. Again, we have our kind of mana pool, our soul gauge to the right. Whenever it gets below a certain amount, we can't do any actions. We need to soul charge, which is a very important thing to do. But it does take a lot of time on the time bar, so let's get out of the way just to be safe, and then use soul charge to get back our energy. Looks like we can do a little bit more here. Perfect. We get some hits off, which would be good. Now, it's likely that the heat's going to try to... Okay, it's only going to attack him. So, what can we do here? Let's try to move that forward a little bit. Maybe we can kind of mess with the attack gauge there. Perfect. That works great. So, focusing on just positionals, it could be extremely important. Because of that, I was able to dodge that move completely, which is nice. And now I'm able to get more hits off, which we need to kind of keep the pressure on them. next few is going to be pretty good for us, actually, so. Accuracy is so bad. Yeah, let's use something smaller hitting. We need to kind of be careful with our gauges here. Alright. Okay, we might be able to actually counter Makina there, which would be good. Let's do that here. And then we can probably do some good damage to Makina. Perfect. And we can hit him with the break. Let's go for that. Ooh, okay. So now is the best chance for us to do some good damage. So let's hit him with the specials here. But I don't know if we'll be able to. We probably won't have the time, do we? Yeah, that's not a good timing on our end, unfortunately. So best bet would be for us to knock out a supporter. And so that I can get the extra bonus damage. Remember, when enemies broken, they basically take more damage, reduce defensive and everything, so it'd be fantastic for us to be able to exploit that, but looks like we missed our window here. Oof, that was painful. So let's have her use an item. And I guess, how is our... What's his kind of next move here? So as I mentioned in the review that I posted earlier, this is one of the more frustrating points of the game, is you do spend a lot of time just trying to figure out what the next few steps are that you should be doing. Because if you make the wrong move, you can definitely take a big hit, especially with how big some of these things are. Yeah, so for example here, like, it may be more beneficial for me to do like 1 or 2 defends here in order to try to mitigate the damage the best I can. Okay, so for example, I'll need to basically use my only defense here. Yep. Unfortunately. Okay, that'll be good. And then you're gonna have to the soul charge, unfortunately. And we can go for this. I'm so sad I missed that opportunity. It would have been so good. One important thing I guess I should mention here as well, which I think would be pretty important to talk about, is as the main character levels, new skills are gained, which is something that we had discussed already in the review, right? But one other thing that happens is new skills are not always just learned itself, but sometimes they're actually upgraded. So once I get my turn back again, I can actually show that off. There's a few key points of that. Okay, so we see the main character that our counter has actually become plus. So when it becomes plus, it actually gains either more effects, more damage, or something of that nature. So you do want to keep your eyes out for these sort of plus situations. So the plus in this case allows for the counter section here to be done, which would be really good. Now, the problem I have with this is that I'll be able to break him, but I won't have any way to really take care of that. Because I won't be able to activate my special after that, which is what I'm ultimately trying to do here. Okay, so soul charge, because he needs extra juice, and just do our best to keep Sasara up. You definitely want to make sure that your party is well topped off, at least in the early battles here. Good. No, knock him out. And unfortunately, I think it's best we keep Sasara on the healing duty now. So keep again. All these items come from the crystals I keep knocking out. So always be nailing those crystals. It's a lifesaver. That works. Yep, and take good advantage of positioning, because you can do some pretty good damage here. Okay, let's get her into battle. Get him into battle. Do our best to get as much as we possibly can for the damage in. Perfect. Okay, we got the voltage up, so if we can... That's not going to be good. Okay. Let's see, maybe we can defend here. Okay, we can defend with everyone, which is good. Because we do not want to get hit by debuff as much as possible. This is one of those games where getting hit by debuffs is definitely not good for the health for everyone. Alright, so get some shooting going on. Okay, that's going to trigger his second mode. Unfortunately, Makina, when he finally hits 50% health, actually has a buff skill that he activates here that gives him boosted skills, boosted defense, and recovers 2,000 of his hit points, which is not fun. I need to get out of the way. I think Makina is also going to start using his super. Perfect. The soul charge here. Some more damage on him. Soul charge here. Again, another reason why I highly suggest when picking keys abilities, the Soul Saver is super helpful in mitigating a lot of the stuff. And I think we might be able to dodge this stuff. Nice. Okay. And we get in there. What's his next skill going to be? Okay, he's got a shooting coming up, so this is going to be it. This is a chance for us to do some good damage. Come in, shooting activates, you get that break on it, hit him real hard, and then we just do some good damage there. And then we can probably get this up in the air too. Alright. And now from here, we can activate this. That's going to do some really good damage. Hit him with that. And then we should be able to hit him with that. And 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Peace. And get that high five. When I first saw that, I completely lost my head. I thought it was absolutely fantastic. I just love how cinematic that is. Alright, and with that, we've knocked Makina almost down to 0. Ooh, he's gonna use his ultimate now. Okay. We need to back off. Unfortunately, this is a really, really powerful skill, and as you saw, it can do some pretty good damage. So in the meantime, let's do a little bit of healing. And let's see, where's this skill aimed at? Okay, Sarah is pretty much in the way, which is good for her. And in my case, I need to be extremely careful. What? Oh no. So Sarah's in range with him? That's not good. Okay, well, in the meantime, let's do some buffs while we can. Increase crit. No, Sarah! Okay, good. She missed that first hit. Okay, so now as we see here, Gin had a new ability unlocked. So I did some grinding earlier, and this is down. When you ever see a down, it actually adds a debuff effect. So up is a buff, down is a debuff. So always want to pay attention to the type of abilities you see kind of on the side there. Yeah, it actually causes poison, which is really, really nice. So he's going to have his life sapped every few. And I think from here we should be able to finish him up. Oh, so close. That's okay, the main cat should be able to finish this one off. And come on. And use got a soul charge. Yes! Okay, definitely a lot easier than last time. the first recording I did was significantly more difficult. And with that, everyone gets a few levels, gain some good key points, and the game shall continue. But of course, we're focusing on the gameplay for this one here. So we're just going to jump through here. Good stuff, good stuff. Welcome to the Return Home Club, which is always good. Field tutorial for key songs, which we'll get into in just a bit. And yeah, let's make it to the next section. Get to see some of the kind of a sneak peek of the next area and the next obligato musician that we will fight. And after this, we should be back on the key train. Yep. The key train. Boop boop. And let's go through some of these scenes. Perfect, here we are. This is where they introduce Wire. This is something I'll get into the next part, since we're at about 30 minutes now, so it's probably a good chance for us to take a short break. Alright, just down here, we have our save. Nice. Okay. So if you tuned in so far, thank you so much for checking out part 3. We've finished the first dungeon. Part 4, I'm going to be exploring a bit of the open world school life aspect of the game, looking at a few of the various systems that play into that. If you liked the video, if you haven't already, please be sure to subscribe to the channel. Every little bit helps, and I really appreciate all the support you guys send. And yeah, this is Show, and I'll be seeing you in a bit. Cheers!